So Carla, I mean, it's so exciting what you're doing. You're trying to build a business. You're part of the church, and you also have a job in teaching. So from someone who doesn't truly know what brain injury is, they might say, "Oh, well, you're fine,
Yeah.
right?" Right.
Right.
And then and a lot of times that is something that kind of someone who is a survivor and who looks like walking, and they're walking and talking and nothing is a problem, that kind of sets them off, right?
Yeah.
When they get told, "Oh, you look fine." Well, what are you talking about, that you're tired,
Yeah.
so how do you deal with that?
Oh my
And
goodness. Yeah,
does that
that is.
happen to you?
Yes, and I think sometimes people do forget that I had a stroke or anything like that because for when I did get healed in that sense, when I was finally walking and doing all that stuff and getting more active, that people did forget almost sometimes that, oh yeah, you did have a stroke and everything, and they don't
Yeah.
realize, like, sometimes when it's really cold, right, suddenly, or it's raining, my brain knows it and I start feeling just weird and I got a foggy brain. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
why do I feel so exhausted and my brain is so, like, I don't know what it is that I'm feeling, and just from the weather or whatever. And um I don't even know how I deal with it really. I think I remind them that, hey, I don't know if you remember. I mean, that's not my identity. I'm not like, oh, this, I don't have a stroke now, but um, I think I like to bring a lot of awareness to my friends in my circle and even the network of people that I know. I actually make it known, like, I just, not because, hey, I'm this stroke survivor. It's not about that. It's about, I want you to understand and be aware, that this is, I may be go, go, go right now, but things happen and it affects me in a certain way. And I don't know when that's going to be, you know what I mean? Or sometimes I don't really know what triggers it, even if it is, well, maybe I do know, because I'm on the go, or, I'm stressed, even if I'm not, I don't feel, even if I don't feel stress, it's just all the activity and everything, all the stimulation can cause that, without me feeling like actually overwhelmed really with what my eyes are seeing and hearing and everything. It's my body is saying, no, 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 stop, like, right? So,
Are there a lot of times when someone would actually say that to you? "Oh, you look fine."
yeah. Oh, yeah. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you're doing great." And I think they come from a place of wanting to be encouraging, So,
Right.
and I think that's where a lot of people are, is they come from that place of
Mhm.
being encouraging, right? And even for my husband, because I'm doing this and that, and thinking that everything is fine, but not realizing, even though, like, right now, I I I feel like I look okay, right? But no one sees your pain. Nobody sees and the inflammation. Nobody feels the
Mhm.
spinal pain or whatever it is. Um,
It
so
it definitely kind of throws people off when also for themselves to be told, "Hey, you know what? I'm dealing with this." And there's just a lot of, there could be this gap in the understanding, because a lot of the things that you're feeling, especially if you're working, taking care of your kids, building a business, a lot of the things that you're feeling is invisible to the eye. It's not something that they could see, that you're having pain, right?
mhm,
They
yeah.
cannot see that you're overwhelmed, that they cannot see how stress can truly affect your how do you say it, your memory. Like, stress can affect a lot of learning, a lot of your memory processes, or just even the processing speed, being able to make a decision,
Oh my
all that.
gosh.
It becomes like a push pull kind of process, and that in itself is very tiring.
Yes.
So what do you do to kind of, just hearing what you're doing in terms of, work, being a mom, being part of the church, trying to build your business, being a wife, all this, all these commitments can be overwhelming, even for someone who never had a brain injury, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, let's just be honest. But what is it that helps you in being able to do all these? Because I mean, of course, we just have to recognize that there's also part of you that was, you're able to do all these things because of who you are prior to the injury. It doesn't mean you're totally different from your injury after the injury. It's still who you are. But I think, just being able to do all these things and feel like you are your own self, that you are Carla and this is your identity and this is who you are. What is it that helps you be able to do all these things to feel you again?
A lot of it is really my faith, really having that strong faith. And, I really affirm a lot of things to myself, who I am and whose I am. And realizing, yes, I'm Karla. Yes, I'm a mom, wife, you know, entrepreneur, teacher, director, whatever. But in the end, it's all these hats, right? But they don't define me, they don't define me. So really understanding that, I think really knowing my purpose too. Knowing your purpose is so important. And I really feel like my purpose is to serve, others. And and now what keeps me going is that I know that there's so much more in store for me, and so many things that I still need to do. And that's why I've been given the chance to still to live, and so that really helps me. I write a lot, and I visualize a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That really helps me to really hone in on who I am. And
Mm-hmm.
I seek to develop myself. Personal development is very important to me. And that really, I think it helps me so much because, now my mindset is not of a victim and,
Mm-hmm.
having this constant pity party in my brain. I'm not saying I never have that time because those times, because I do,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I'm a human being, and I do feel like, sometimes I do feel like when things, like when I have relapses, right? When I had a seizure a couple of months ago, and when I had this, paralysis, it's like that's out of my control. So I really just try to focus on what I can control.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where I'm at. It's like I can't control everything that's happening around me. I can't even control COVID. I can't control this flu. I can't control any of that, but I can
Yes.
control my response to this situation. And I think that helps me because I really, of course, I can be reactive too because I'm a human being,
Right.
and right. But I think practicing, being intentional. I think being intentional on how I respond to things, being intentional on how I look at things, and like looking at things in all sides, right? And that really helps me be grounded
Mm-hmm.
to really, focus in on my wellness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just seeking the knowledge of, for health, just, what are the best foods for me if I have this? What are, what do I need to do if I have this? Right. So I'm constantly learning, really finding a lot of holistic ways to heal, because like I shared with you, I'm the craziest person. I have so many allergies to medicine. It's crazy. It could be just a Solumedrol IV. I paralyzed. I got paralyzed from that. You know what I mean? Like where it could actually help somebody with inflammation. It won't help. It doesn't help me. So I
Right.
think because of all those different things that has happened to me, I am just using I just know that I'm resourceful, and I speak that about myself, and I say that about myself, and even when I don't, even when my memory feels kind of weird and crazy, and I'm like, I'm so good at remembering your people's names. I'm so great at remembering, where things are. And so I speak that.
Mhm.
I speak those words. I am who I am, what I envision myself to be. Even if that day I really can't pinpoint, you know, what where things are or what the word is,
Right.
I just I reaffirm myself, and I have um really practiced to not allow what others say, even what doctors say about me, you know,
Mhm.
that, you know what I mean? Not taking it to heart right away, like, oh, I have this, oh, I have that,
Mhm.
and then wallowing on that. It's more like, okay, even if they said I have this, so what can I do to get better
Mhm.
from it?
And I actually think that Carla, I mean, just from the sound of it, that you still go through so much about learning about yourself, and because it's never a straight line. Healing is never a straight line. And you definitely had to really figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And I think even more now that, that you finding out what works for you during your whole journey, it's also about kind of figuring out how you can maintain a certain level of function, to
Yeah.
not overwhelm yourself, and really, like, every day you can have an optimized, well-being, to be able to function, as a mom, as a professional, and being a wife. And we all have responsibilities, and and you have goals. So it's amazing to just hear your story, and how much you have put in through, to your healing, and getting you to this point. And I do recognize that healing is never done.
No, but I think it's through this journey I've discovered so much about myself,
Hmm.
and just the potential even within me, and even and my limitations as well, right? And just understanding really my weaknesses and my strengths, and using those strengths, like I said, pulling out the skill of resourcefulness, you know what I mean? Like, oh, how do I do that? And so I really feel that it's so weird that I'm like not, I look at it as, okay, it happened to me, but it happened for me.
Hmm.
Because and now that I can also, and I have been able to connect with people that have had a stroke or seizures or this or that, and they've seen me, some of my friends and family, for example, that have seen me through the process, and they know somebody that is going through something, and they're able to connect me with them, and I'm able to either pray with them, talk to them, and just be that person for them to talk to, because not everybody understands um what happens after a brain injury. No one, you know what I mean? So when you have somebody that you can relate to and understand you in some type of level, it gives you a bit of hope.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because then you're like, oh, somebody understands me. We just want to be understood as human beings. So
And it's so complex. I mean, as human beings, we're complex beings anyway. And
yeah.
then you add a brain injury to it, which is basically the hard drive of your whole being. And I mean, it can short circuit somehow, and it can affect certain things. And if you don't truly understand where the deficits are, where the challenges are, it can manifest itself in a different way. And all these layers can manifest much more severely because of unresolved issues, or external factors or not being addressed over time, and it just can get complex. So so Carla, thank you so much, and I really appreciate you sharing, and I hope that a lot more people can, learn from, what helped you. But it really begins, in each of us, healing, whether or not you're a survivor. Our healing and us getting better is really, it really starts from us. So thank you so much, Carla. I really
Thank
appreciate
you for
you.
even allowing me to be able to share. I'm
Oh
so
my
grateful
gosh.
to blessed. Thank you.
I've worked with a lot of, survivors, and I never get tired of
Mhm.
hearing how they've overcome such a huge hurdle and how they maintain and how they thrive. Because I know whatever I learned from you, I can help another person. Well,
Thank you.
thank you so much, Carla, and and
Sure.
keep in touch. I mean, on
Yes, I really appreciate it.
don't be a
You're
stranger.
awesome. God
Thank
bless
you so
you.
much. You
Take
too.
care.
All
Bye
right,
bye.
bye.